Hello, Pain Train family. Welcome back to Your Eternity, Season 2, Episode number 12. Almost got me confused then. We are back after the little mini break, back into the new season. Hello and welcome. I have missed you guys. I hope you guys are having a good week. Hoping you guys are treating yourself with kindness and being nice to yourselves. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel. I am Becca, Clockwork Dandy Noodles in the house, ready to break down yet another episode of our famous boy who gets treated quite roughly. Poor Fushi. Before we get going, do make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We are aiming to hit the 1K again for the end of the year. Let's make it happen this year. But thank you guys so much for coming back. You guys are always a joy to talk to. I always really enjoy having our conversations. To Eternity is one of those animes where you can get quite philosophical with it. It's heavy at times. It does make for some very interesting conversations. We do get confirmation this week that the girl in the OP is definitely the princess. I was wondering if it would be the girl that Fushi brought back to life. I would like to know if she's going to come back at some point. It feels important that there is another immortal walking around. Got a bit of a suspicion that she will. I just don't know exactly when. So the princess's name is Almay. Robin ends up being her childhood friend. The story between these two is actually very similar if you look at it from the perspective of Iris and Bon. Slightly different because he's actually royalty, which is also why perhaps they're allowing him to continue visiting her, because Iris was told not to go back. It does seem that they've drifted apart. I guess that could also be age and the fact that he's probably trying to keep a bit of a distance between the two because he knows the secret. It had a lot of similarities between the two. No doubt they definitely at least tried to stop him seeing her by telling maybe the truth, going, hey, actually, she's your sister. You don't want to be doing that. Fushi is definitely seeming a bit more stressed this week. He's getting impatient. He's losing his temper a little bit with a few characters. We are running out of time. He's seeing people around him playing games and it's irritating him. He's trying to use the boat method that we've already seen him conquer, slowly transform the city into Boat 2.0. The wise man appearance I thought was very clever because he's a trustworthy character. You see him as a harmless old man. You see him as a shepherd in a sense, somebody who's lived a long life, who is someone you wouldn't suspect. But it's nice to have Boozman come back to narrate for a little bit. It's been a very long time since we had him in the story whatsoever. It was quite sad to see Echo wearing the helmets, but at the same time, it was quite funny just to see Kohaku trying to run around after her, babysitting. More like he's a stay-at-home wife. I see him as the wife at home taking care of the kids whilst the husband's out, and poor Kohaku having to look after Echo. Is probably for the best because last week I was getting some very bad vibes from Kohaku. He was being very stalkery. He was being too much for me, so I like having him a bit on the back burner. But it is the week where we get a bit of information about the sacrificial pawns that Bon has brought to us. I really don't want to use them as sacrificial pawns. I really hope it doesn't come to this. Camus, and he's got the worst backstory ever. I hate it. Like I really needed another reason to hate the church. We don't like the church, especially after that episode in particular. They used indoctrination. They pretty much have started experimenting on Camus. I don't know what they were trying to achieve, but it feels wrong. It's cult-like, restricting this child's worldview to nothing more than the church. He didn't understand what bread was, or he wasn't allowed to know what was outside. Was allowed out once and it was basically walking 50 meters to another church. It wasn't exactly getting out. Something just wasn't right about them removing teeth. You do lose a set of teeth as a kid, but they then took out the adult teeth, which is really gross, and then he's got the fake dentures and stuff. I would like to know a bit more about that, but I suspect we're not going to get any information on this anymore. Tasset, rest in peace. You are totally dead because you showed kindness. You actually started to see Robin as a child. You actually gave him a gift and you wanted him to have the bread, and I think it's because he ate the bread. He must have sinned, and then she was seen as sinning because she gave it to him. Then he's suddenly allowed to be a swordsman because I think he's relegated out of whatever role he was being trained for. The random Renville soldier, kudos to you, my friend. It is his actions of trying to snap Camus out of it. We have a right to protect the people that we love, and this is what Fushi needs to hear, because Fushi is, oh, I'm going to do it myself, I'm more powerful than everyone else, step out the way, sit at home whilst I do this. Admirable, I get what you're trying to do, but as the soldier says, we have a right to protect the people that we love. You can't do it all yourself. You should stop acting as this person's mum, because you've heard the story, but you're not really getting the fact that he should be protecting the people that he loved. He should have actually stood up for his adopted mother. Everybody has something that they want to protect, and this is the lesson this week that Fushi has to learn. This week, after playing a bit of house flipping, Fushi decides to open up a house flipping service, ripping out a house and rebuilding it exactly the same. Robin is trying to beat the princess. I knew immediately what he was trying to do. He's playing the game. He sucks at the game because she beat him pretty hard. He's trying to get good at the game so he can beat the princess. And this is going to allow him to get the blueprints. I saw it, but Fushi, he didn't get any communication, he doesn't exactly know what we, the audience, know. He just sees him playing games and it looks like he's not taking things seriously or he doesn't care. And this is where, again, we see Fushi really losing his temper. He's getting really, really angry and irritable. Inklings that Robin is actually royal, which totally makes sense because if he had been like Iris, he would have been pushed away by the royal family, told to go somewhere else. You're hanging out with a peasant. You can't do that. But we learned that he actually was allowed to keep going into the castle. Everybody else is seeing him going in and out of the castle. He's looking like he's pretty well off. To me, the bond between him and the princess just seemed a bit more of a void. There seemed to be a bit more of a gap. So I didn't really get the whole he's going to try and be king thing. But it's very interesting to see that Bon and Robin go way, way back. And Robin tried to kill Bon when he met him. It was hilariously funny. It ended up on the lawn and the parents are just ignoring their kids as they're scrapping. Fushi using the term friend zone made me laugh. That was hilarious. I wasn't expecting that out of your mouth. And the fact that we've got friend zoning in this world as well. But it did seem a wee bit ironic because that's also where Kohaku lives. Kohaku is the king of the friend zone. Maybe Robin also is going to come into the friend zone and help make a club. That'd be quite cool. We see more irritableness as Fushi goes out on his own to take care of things because he's getting fed up. He doesn't want to wait around. He doesn't want to deal with Robin at the moment. I still think they're really cutting it fine, and next week's episode does not fill me with hope at all. I get where some of the frustration that Fushi feels is coming from. Don't know why it's taking me this long to realise, but Fushi in this get-up really looks like his dad. I didn't see it before, I don't know why, but I'm literally looking at a brown version of the narrator. Hats off to the boy for following his dad's style choice. I guess you learn from your parents how to dress. I like it. I think it's pretty unique. I didn't even realise. It's very similar to the narrator where he just appears when needed. Appearing when needed to make a house, then vanishing again. Perfect. It's like he is mimicking and becoming a bit more like his real dad. I did still find it quite fascinating that Almay never showed her real face at all to Robin. Despite the fact that they were growing up together, he was in and out and they were friends related to her, so I don't see what the problem with him knowing what she looks like. The terms we were told is that you can't show your face until you truly trust somebody. She had no reason not to trust him. He's been there pretty much since as a kid. When we finally see Robin winning a game and finally getting our hands on the blueprints, again, she says it takes years to learn trust. It doesn't just come overnight. You and Robin have been friends for pretty much forever. He hadn't seen her face up until this moment, but thankfully we do get a face reveal. She's a very pretty design. I was expecting her to look pretty. For some reason, I thought she would have blue eyes. She reminded me a little bit of the dancer character from Sumeru in Genshin, and I can't remember her name. I think it's Nilu. I haven't got her in game. I pulled on her banner and I just didn't get her. That is life pretty much in Genshin. It definitely struck me as she would have blue eyes, and she is very, very pretty. But we finally are on our way to getting Rinril somewhat protected. However, I think it's all going to come crashing down next week. It does feel like we've wasted so much time. The attack is now 3 months away. It's not long to pretty much rebuild absolutely everything. I did note that To Your Eternity very easily could have become Game of Thrones with this next reveal that the two are indeed related. Robin, I actually hear that incest is actually in right now because of House of Dragon. I think you could have a chance, you know. You could easily go down the Game of Thrones route. This anime's got everything that Game of Thrones has, right, apart from the X-rated stuff. Hayase trying to get in bed with Fushi. We've had murder, we've had torture, we've had death, we've had siblings, but they're not getting together. But this week, Fushi learns the key important lesson that it's important to let people fight for their loved ones. You can't stop people doing what they want to do to protect someone. Everybody feels a drive to protect the people that they love, and that's very similar for Fushi. He wants to make sure that he doesn't experience death anymore. Allowing people also have that right. They have a right to take up arms, fight for the people that they love. He learns about the idea of trust and teamwork because he wakes up in the rubble pit where people are starting to knock their own houses down because it's teamwork. Everybody around him is doing it because it's easier and quicker for him to quickly build the houses as opposed to doing one house at a time. Next week, it's all going to sadly come crashing down because apparently Fushi's identity gets out. This is bad because we have already seen via the use of the backstories, the church is prevalent in the city. They are not going to like knowing that their demon has escaped and is alive. The princess is going to be pissed because Fushi lied to them. They kept Fushi's identity secret from her. Although I could state that she also has kept her identity secret from them. So it's a bit of everyone's doing the same thing. But at the moment, she's the one who needs to be impressed enough to allow you to do things in her cities. You've come to her for help. Therefore, you're the ones who have to try and get that trust. Everybody also sees him as dead right now, so he's going to have some supporters because we did see people liked Fushi, but there's going to be so many rioters. I'm really worried that they're going to undo all the work that Fushi's done. They're probably going to wreck everything, and the attack's coming very soon. In true To Your Eternity fashion, it's been smooth sailing for far too long. Everything's about to hit the fan again. It's about to go all Game of Thrones in here, and it's going to be a bloodbath probably. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Another fantastic episode. We have 8 episodes left of this season. It's really interesting to see where we're going to get to. I imagine next week it's going to hit the fan. The fight is probably going to take up a couple of episodes. The outcome of that and then putting Fushi onto a new path perhaps is probably where we're going to go. It's To Your Eternity. Everything can go wrong very, very quickly. I don't know where we're going. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. I hope you are having a great week. I hope you're looking after yourselves and I hope that you enjoyed hearing my thoughts. Points of note, I do worry that sometimes I'm too busy rehashing the story for you guys. I'm trying to pick out the main key points and what I think things are important, how I think characters are reacting, or what strikes me as interesting in certain episodes. Sometimes I get the balance just right, sometimes I don't. Thank you guys for being understanding as you can with me. Have a great day, guys. See you next week. Bye bye.